What the fuck? It started so fast. Anyway, um, good evening. Also, can we mute this guy? Uh, anyway, good evening. Welcome to the Daily Show. I say no. Welcome to the Daily Bugle, where your best source of news gets created every single day. No idea. What's up? Here we are. I don't know. I should be trying to hear myself. Actually, first thing that I have to say, I paid attention a little bit. I was hearing what I said last time, and that I noticed there are a lot of weird things that happen in the microphone. Like I do some minimal tappings. I do like, and even that thing, it sounds incredibly loud. It's like I don't know, I am biting down on the microphone. In reality, all that happens is me tapping with the finger the mic while I'm holding it, let's say. So I don't know. I should try. I should have tried to check. I didn't. It happens, brother. It happens. Also, yet again, this is like a ritual, I guess. Oh no, I might just be like dumb. I need to disconnect the mouse. Not that this doesn't have any interference, really. It has so much fucking noise. It has so much noise. Anyways, let me do that before it becomes even later. Also, I'm conscious that now if I move around, the microphone picks up everything so much. Anyway, disclaimer there, top left corner, audio is bad. Don't blame me. You should blame me. Literally, I am in church. Don't blame me. Okay, there it is. I was in the middle of disconnecting the mouse, asking myself, what the fuck did I how to. Anyway, here we are. Welcome. Today, why? The real question is why we're here. Why are we still alive? Just to suffer, probably. Um, I don't know. As always, I have like a lot of stuff to say. First, let me start with one of the few things I noticed was I was watching last stream and something that I saw was it was fantastic. If it wasn't me, I would have probably highly praised the guy who did that because this guy it started the stream with, yeah, I haven't found inner peace. Like in the first 5 minutes, the guy said that. And when it ended, he mentioned literally, I have found inner peace. I have reached nirvana, let's say. It was so good. Everything was interconnected. It was such an experience. Anyways, the point was, I don't know. Is there a point that, yeah, if someday I were to become a director, it would be such an amazing work. Uh, I don't know. Anyways, uh, thanks, thanks for that. Tupo, you're welcome. I don't know. No idea. I just wanna say today too. Complaining is kind of bad, but I am tired, man. I'm like incredibly tired. Also, one of the few things I noticed, I I have been like sort of avoiding the act of mentioning it at all because I don't have an explanation. If somebody were to ask me, why the fuck do you sound so different? No idea. Brother, no idea. Anyways, yeah, I sound different. But it happens, yes. no matter what. Well, not here because of any of those things. Uh, why are we here? Once again, I will do the same show as before. So yeah, basically that. I don't know. Also, I don't really have a way in which I can hold comfortably enough the microphone. Holding it, it's like a whole experience, man. It's like more complicated than what it seems at first, because there is a way in which it weighs less in your hand somehow. It's like gravity has to carry more weight than you. I don't know. Anyway, it's like 100, 200 grams. So it's just me complaining for the sake of complaining. So, anyways, what? Also, wait. I am on the line of mentioning the things. Something that I noticed, even if not, yeah, no. Not that this microphone is well. Probably, if I had a proper what is it? Not an audio relay, an audio. One of those things, one of those boxes in which you connect the audio display. I think no, that's like no, the thing in which the microphone goes, and it makes in general the whole adventure of dealing with audio better, easier. The audio of this microphone is incredibly strange. It picks up so many sounds. It has such a strange degree of stuff, but sultry. What does sultry mean? Yeah, I guess. Welcome, Karaspian. Good morning. You're about to go to sleep, but good morning. All-time radio? Yeah, we are so back. We are so back. Also, I don't know if you know this. I learned this thing because I watch streams mostly at 160p. What the fuck does P mean? I don't remember. P means something, but 160 has a different audio quality. So if you hear it, if you watch it at 160, it has even more that sort of feeling. It's for some reason at 160 it lowers the audio quality, so it gets even better. Pixels? Is it pixels? It doesn't have one. It is 160 pixels. It makes sense why it lowers also the audio quality. Like 160 pixels, man. Yeah. 160 pixels of audio. Yeah, probably. Width, bandwidth, yeah, but basically, no idea. Most people will say a filter. Only the real gang knows that. I don't know. I'm fucking dying. I I love that sort of humor, but also I know that it's very bad to that sort of humor. So can we refrain from those jokes, please? Can we get I don't know, check in I was speaking today with a guy, and he out of nowhere he went like, "Can we get a thumbs up in the chat?" It was so random. We weren't. I wasn't talking with a streamer. I was talking with a normal person, and out of nowhere he said that, and I was like, "What the fuck are you talking about, bro? Are you okay?" It seems to have leaked into the normal people. No idea. The point is there any point? Yeah. Here we are. So that's more than nothing. Yeah, I was saying the microphone picks up a fucking lot of noise. Probably. Let me. If I do that, it picks up that I am like a half a meter away from the microphone with my hand. clapping it with itself? Or why does it pick up at the noise? Anyways, um, this microphone is such a good thing. Probably I just need an what I said before, an audio relay, audio interface. That's the word. I'm a genius. Um, anyways. So yeah, basically that. Do I have anything else to say before I can concentrate? I don't know, man. Um, yeah, I also was watching the stream, the what? The I was watching the YouTube channel. Something funny happened. It has been like 3 weeks since I uploaded anything. Not that it means that I have done nothing. Besides, obviously, I can do shorts. That's on me. But I haven't streamed in 3 weeks, so yeah, that's like a proper signal of how long it has been since I have been here. Because at some point you realize it should be an interesting thing to do to actively try and upload things as soon as I am done with them. So I finally went also and sent the last, not the last one, the one that I haven't uploaded basically, 368 I think it was. You are on 370 right now, so 368. And yeah, probably when this one ends, also I will have to upload the next one. But anyways, I don't know. Do we have anything else to say now? I think not. I hope not. I will probably remember out of nowhere. I don't know. Ah, yeah. Yeah. What the fuck? What? No, I mean, sorry, Charlie. It's like it's normal for you. It's weird for me to hear. But welcome. Have a good evening. I I hope you're well. Anyways, what was it? What was I saying? What is this guy saying? Anyways, also now that I am seeing it, I think the cable from my earbuds, headphones, from my headphones it's like even longer than the one from my microphone, and that one is like 2 meters long. Fucking crazy, man. Anyways, how am I doing? I think fine. I am like incredibly tired. Ah, yeah, I remember. I remember something else. I remember something that I also wanted to say. I should have tried to stream while standing up today. I don't feel like doing it. I have to also. I only have 2 hands, and I need to gesture to myself with one hand. So I cannot have both hands at use, because if I were to be standing up, I would need to hold also the phone to see anything just in case. So no way I am doing it. But if at any point in time I go completely silent, assume that I fell asleep. I have fallen. I have, what is it? I have been taken by the grasp of the soft angel that is the dreams and the world of illusions that is to be immersed in that reality, consisting only of beautiful images and desires that resides within oneself, imagination. So yeah, basically that. But besides that, besides being tired, I guess I don't know. I'm like I probably am tired the percent of the time, so I'm incredibly fine. I I don't wanna say anything, but we haven't been here for 3 days already. Things are looking pretty good. Also, yeah, stuff is happening. Life is looking better, let's say. So yeah, content with everything. But anyways, Anything else? Does this guy have anything else to say? Can he shut up already? Can can the other personality take a hold of the show? Can this silly guy leave? Um, ah, anyway, I don't know. It has been great. I, I think it has been very nice, and I think this is looking pretty good in general. Also, yeah, I I don't know. I should. I feel like it's okay. Another thing that I should have said before. There is an issue, and I don't know why it happens this time around. The microphone starts to make fucking weird noises. Like, okay, let me explain a little bit of technical stuff. The moment in which you hear a loud, high frequency noise, or hearable enough so that you can realize that it exists. Basically, it's the moment in which you are dealing with something that is being created not because of any sound that I am making, but because the cable is getting some sort of interference. So I should try to get something to check on that. I could probably, being honest, there is probably a way to measure that. I think it's something like I remember last time I talked with I think it was somebody American and such. He told me how to try and fix it. I had to get rid of filters and whatnot. I don't even remember why. But if I were to set it up, it would probably be possible to deal with that, or also at the very least allow myself to know when those noises are starting to appear out of nowhere. Anyways, anything else to say? Yeah, I don't know. I mean, if I am saying just menial stuff, there are a thousand things to say always, but that's not the real point. So that's not the point. I can distract myself. I don't know. You know, I haven't been playing a little. No, that's not the point. I'm not here for that. I'm not here for that. It's okay. If I talk about that shit, it's just because I like to have an excuse to not really talk about anything else. So I truly like I don't know. Um, for example, today we were talking with a friend, and he kept on insisting and insisting on shit. And man, what an annoying thing it is for me to hear it. Somebody who's interested in knowing that's more annoying than somebody who doesn't want to know. Because at the very least, you can get angry at somebody who isn't willing to understand the stuff. But when somebody is interested enough, it is your issue. Then when you have to accept that, yeah, I can teach them, and it's a moral responsibility. You cannot fail. You can teach somebody. You should teach somebody. So I think I spent like 2 hours, not 2 hours, an hour and a half fucking talking about stuff that he asked and whatnot. It was incredibly crazy. And that sort of thing is awesome. So yeah, I would have rather not have done that. But I don't know. It's always it's always an experience, man. It's just it's just something that happens, and when even if once I don't know. At this point, I think I just accepted I'm going to feel tired some days. So yeah, no matter what, you cannot avoid it. We have some free time, so why not do it? The same thing here, you know. Whenever you can take advantage of the things that you already have, why not to do it? You can always try to ignore what you wish. It doesn't mean that you get anywhere just because you're ignoring what you to some degree know that you should be doing. I mean, that's the funny thing. That concept of responsibilities and whatnot, it's such a complicated mess. And I don't know, it's just another thing that requires hours upon hours of things falling onto their proper place. But whatever. Also, now that we're starting, yesterday I said I have a list. Today I forgot to prepare a list. I didn't have time at all. Um, being honest, I sat down. I have used like 30, 40 minutes to be see. I will certainly I will go to have more time to do that, but it cannot happen. So uh, we are just going to assume that I will be capable of remembering anything that I want to mention myself. And I don't know, as always, there is stuff to say. So expect things, expect words, expect language to take place in this context, and sentences to be created. Anyway, I'm just avoiding saying anything. Whatever. You know, it has it, it's literally just Monday, but it has been already such a long week. Uh, anyways, uh, it's funny because I started last time with, or not that I started. One of the things that I mentioned was this whole idea of how complicated it is to properly arrange things in order to talk about the future, in order to talk about and to be capable of aiming towards anywhere. That was what I was trying to talk about last time. The issue is, I mentioned it myself, the world in which we live alters a lot of things, and it ends up making it kind of impossible for anybody to have enough. Sorry, that one was a direct hit on the mic. I shouldn't have done that. Merely, why the fuck are you awake, man? It's like incredibly late there. Welcome, but welcome. Yeah. I mean, it's fun. It's fun. No problem. But well, what's the word? Evening? No. Good morning. Good morning. Good morning, Merlin. But anyways, here we are. Just chatting. Wow, what a scriptive category, you know. Just talking. All I want to do was to make sure you hadn't forgotten about me yet. No, I don't think so. I think something wonderful is wonderful. To some degree, it is. Many of the people that you met that are capable of leaving some degree of an impression on you are impossible to forget in any way. Even if you believe that you have forgotten about them, there is something that you can see some days that is capable of moving that tiny fiber inside of you to make that memory resurface and find that you still somehow haven't really forgotten about any one of them. So yeah, don't worry. And even less somebody like you who I can say I appreciate. So yeah, huh? Are you what are you discussing earlier? We weren't discussing it. Sorry. yeah. I was saying something. I was trying to talk about basically quick recapitulation of what I said last time. This issue concept, interesting concept. In the world in which we live nowadays, it isn't as possible to be capable of placing yourself in a plane of time in which you can understand the things that are going to come to you in the future, so that you cannot take as much responsibility into account when you are trying to deal with your own existence. It is an existence that is only segmented into the present time always, and you end up not being capable of inhabiting that possibility that exists within a hope created for an imaginary and obviously desired future. That was sort of the quick rundown of what I was trying to say. The point that I was trying to make was that. And something funny that happens is you hear things and finally it clicks. Okay, today I finally heard something that makes it click. What? So what I mean is people have less capacity for long-term plans. Yeah, certainly. They do have that. Basically, yes. Basically, and not only that, not it doesn't stop there. There is even more. In the next 5 seconds, you are about to hear even more. Yeah. But the reality is, there is a concept, a particular concept of how human develops. There is a whole theory. I don't want to talk about the whole theory, but there is one particular thing that we can use for the sake of this argument, and that is how, in one way, when you talk about human development in general, something that is observed is the capacity in childs to start to form more abstract concepts. It starts to begin with anything, with the mere conception of any idea. What happens is childs themselves do not possess the capacity to imagine stuff. The moment in which they unlock a degree of consciousness good enough so that they can picture things without needing the visual representation itself to be present in front of them, it is the instant in which those same humans gain to some degree the capacity of playing in the abstract field. That's basic, the most basic way of talking about it. The problem is that happens in the infant ages, so to speak. It happens when you are like between 1 and 3 years old. The issue is what I'm talking about. Time is something that isn't as complicated. Take into account that we exist. Supposedly, we are beings of time. Basic concept. We are supposedly beings of time. So we have always to take into account what is this fourth plane of existence or whatever. That is how things will happen in the future and how things have happened in the past, besides what is just the present. And if it were to be true that we are capable of developing even more complex ways of organizing ourselves with what has to deal with anything that is abstract, it shouldn't be such a possibility that we would end up struggling with something as basic and as incredibly used in the daily lives as this simple thing of organizing ourselves. Let's say it like that. It shouldn't be so complicated for anyone to organize themselves in their own lives. Not because everybody simply has the capacity to do it, but because it relies on something that you are required to generate to be capable of reaching such a degree of comprehension of things. You need to go through that whole process of getting that level of abstraction and whatever unlocked on you, so to speak. If there is yet a more complex way of explaining things, it's more. I wouldn't say it's more complicated itself. It's just something that assumes that you understand enough semiotics stuff, I guess, and that is the moment in which the human can understand signs and can understand that the world is composed of signs. It unlocks the capacity to manipulate them in a proper way. Because you can see how something can represent another thing, because it is impossible in some cases to have that very same thing which is being represented to be existent in the context in which you are inhabiting. So to speak, it should be not such an impossible thing for anybody to understand what is the necessity of organizing themselves in the future and whatnot. Reality is, and not, okay, theory or hypothesis, nothing else. I think the issue lies on we are getting more stupid by the day. Wow, amazing conclusion. Something that somebody surely has never said. But yeah, that's my conclusion. Also, I haven't taken read for a whole hour. You're soaking, right? Why did that message pop up? I haven't been talking. Why did that message pop up? I got incredibly scared. I was like, what? Why did that message appear? Uh, anyways, that bot scared me. Can we ban stream elements? Anyways, but yeah, I think probably not the best conclusion. But what I see is if we are still struggling with something that seems to be so innate to how we experience reality, we might as well just be getting worse at dealing with reality. Not because reality itself is becoming more complicated, but rather because there are issues with what we are experiencing. And I will say it like this: we are probably facing, to some degree or other, situations that make it impossible for us to not enjoy what are indeed these situations and these particularly necessary steps. It's like another way of framing the same thing. We are only having an issue with what is being ourselves, being of proper discipline, because it is being instilled on us more. I guess it's sort of insulting to say it. Useless theory of, yeah, you know what? You can abandon anything. You can not be as responsible. Things are not going to get up so badly. It's like, probably if I have to say it in another way, the idea itself of being responsible stopped being something so important. I remember even I was thinking about it myself. I don't think it's that much proper to talk about being ourselves so much adult and whatnot. And it's just an even bigger infantilization of what a human being is. When you look back into perspective, let's say, you find out that in the past, we used to have people who were like 5 years old already act like they were to some degree grown ups. Nowadays, it is something that is socially condemned to see children act as if they were grown ups. And not because it is certainly necessary to mix them, that there needs to be no barrier between the kids and the rest of the world. That's not what I am trying to say, but it's weird to see how much we are starting to accept that the human is incapable of having so many responsibilities when in no matter how many concepts we have created, we still live in very similar rules. We are not, I don't feel like we have truly advanced that much. There is nothing that takes that long to comprehend for the average person in the world in which they live. There is nothing that they cannot comprehend. there are no things which are outside of the realm of understanding of the human that you find out there. It's weird to see it transform into this narrative of, yeah, people are becoming less and less responsible, yet things themselves are not getting more and more complicated. I guess counter argument. There are certainly more issues. There are always more issues appearing out there. Something always horrible is to have to talk about. Yeah, things are always going badly. I I don't exactly remember. I think, for example, one of the many sort of interesting things that we have around the whole world, even if it certainly is only an event done in one place, but something like the what is it? Manhattan clock, I think it is, or something like that. Doomsday clock, something like the Doomsday clock and whatnot. Those things try to show in general that we are truly not doing in any way better than we were doing before. We are all only getting worse, but at the same time, we are still not in a reality in which no person can enjoy their own life to some degree or other. I will. You can still try to argue, yeah, you cannot have as many commodities as before. Language and the communication itself has become something incredibly muddy, and you cannot ensure conversations with the same degree of controversy that we used to have in older ages. But I don't think it isn't really that bad. Something wonderful that I have realized is, in reality, speech itself has only become more nuanced, and you can still hold not even similar, even more complex discussions about the things that you want, as long as you're capable of understanding how to drive any kind of conversation in the proper direction. It has become a world in which it is even more than ever before necessary for anybody to try and take a place into this whole. I don't know if race is the proper word, but experience of getting to properly know stuff before they can talk about anything. Suddenly, it certainly can also happen that a lot of people believe that they know, so they already enter spaces in which there is no usage for the false beliefs that they are holding, and it also sadly, no matter how much we have also developed ourselves, you can still lie, so people can also fall for your lies and believe that what you're saying is somehow true. So that is that. But in most cases, anybody who says something wrong can get called out. And anybody who says something blatantly wrong loses their own credibility. And such things don't become as meaningful or take as much time in the public discussion as before. Let's say, if if you want to say it with different words, this whole reality or this whole world, society, I guess, has allowed a lot more proper, yeah, a lot more of a proper structure of arguments and whatnot to exist. It's just weird still that we have so many, in so many ways, this necessity of saying, yeah, you know what, the human being needs more time to develop and whatnot. While on the other hand, we have so many things going on and so many more levels of properness added to what we are doing, and we are not really enjoying a bad life, let's say, or having to do with anything bad like that. It's just it's just weird. In general, it's just weird. That's why I wanted to say this isn't really an idea in and and of itself, it's just an addition on the last thing that I mentioned last time. Um, Time seems to be a strange concept. But at the same time, it really isn't. It, it's it truly isn't that complex or anything like that. But I don't know, man. I just think that in itself, we're kind of losing the battle. In some way, we are losing the battle. That's, I guess, my biggest fear in that sense. That somehow we're accepting that it is useful to be less and less responsible. Obviously, everybody, if they were given the opportunity, will accept to have less things to deal with. But reality ends up being any person needs to deal with as many things as they are capable of dealing with in their lives so that they can not only deal with their own stuff but also in the end, if it were to be possible for them, be capable of assisting anyone else who exists in this, I don't know, reality. And it becomes then weird that we trace back to stuff of this sort of, oh yeah, you know what, we I cannot find trace for myself a proper path in which I can see how becoming responsible is a useful thing if I just keep avoiding it. I cannot allow myself to become responsible because whenever I try to do it, what I am getting told by my surroundings is that it is yet not time for me to do it. And the more I look around, the more I try to with talk about this idea with people of my age, of different ages, of similar, older, younger, whatever it is, the central thing is, yeah, you know what? You need to be responsible. It's just this general renouncement on things. I that's also something that I remember I even thought about last time when I was okay. Let me we're starting to Webster. I remember while I was reading one of these many books that I have to read. Emil Cioran, what is it? The desire to be, something like that. The desire to exist. I don't remember exactly. The temptation to exist, basically. That's the title. That guy in one of the many lines said, "Yeah, you know what? It is an obstination of the young people to desire to assist the whole world, and it is a wisdom of the older people, the resignation to abandon such a hope. The reality is, I think, at some point, in most of the cases, it just has happened that the way in which you see it ends up becoming more and more complicated. Sort of tracing back on what I have said at this point, I don't know. You could say this is in some way a series, but what I mentioned before of, yeah, you know what, I could have done so many more things. If you reach a certain point in time in your own life in which you have already committed so many failures, it is better for you to give up instead of having to deal with every single failure that you already committed in order to finally be capable of committing to your final or true desire. If you are given the opportunity of fixing everything else that you have done wrong and finally facing forward in a direction that feels fulfilling, but in the process of doing so, you have not only to accept that you did so many things wrong, but also spend so much time removing all the garbage that you left behind your own life. It becomes such a hassle that it's an unavoidable conclusion for you to say, yeah, you know what, I, I being responsible, it's too complicated. Hopes for the future is just much, man. So I would rather sit here and deal with as little things as I can. Live reality which I am content with the handful of things that I have to deal with and nothing else. And I don't know, man. It feels weird to see how, in so many ways, because the philosophical development can at least have some thread or line of ideas which you can follow more properly to see how this becomes a rational conclusion for most of them. It has come from a line of thousands of years of having to not having, trying to think about the stuff and realizing, yeah, you know what? There are so many mistakes that we will need to fix in order to deal with anything new. That it's better to just abandon that. But the daily person is that old. You are not. I don't think that many times, even if I have, even if I wanna say it in a way in which I sound pompous and just to be egotistical, I could try to say something like, yeah, I am being held back by all the past of my families and my bloodline and whatever. I don't know, man. Personally speaking, maybe that's an incredibly subjective case, but I'm pretty sure most people in this day and age can reach a point in their lives in which they can do what they want. If properly discussing what you want with the people who are close to you represents a problem or not, if that thing is true or not, is completely outside of the picture. If you need to be responsible enough to realize that, yeah, indeed, I am obliged to properly express what I want, and be capable of following that same thing, not only with my words but also with my actions, in order to demonstrate the people which not only decide to place their trust on me, but also to allow me to do it, and obviously referring to family and whatnot. If you realize that, and you are not willing to take those steps, it doesn't have to deal at all with being completely impeded from that. I think people admit nothing. Yeah, I mean, certainly people admit nothing. Most of the time, people don't like to admit anything. It's complicated to admit stuff. You know, it's one of the many wonderful things of the present is you can avoid talking about an issue. Nobody needs to have any issue. It's better to have no issues. So you can admit that you're always fine, even if you certainly aren't, just to avoid dealing with the consequences of what the social judgment brings to you, the moment in which you commentate on the possibility of not being fine. And most people would rather die than to take upon the responsibility itself of, once again, in this case, properly discussing the things that happens to them. Because it seems to be such a painful thing to do, instead of accepting that, yeah, you know what, maybe it, it is bad, maybe. Let's assume that it is bad. Let's assume that it will never be better than bad. But even if it is bad, it is survivable enough for me to try it. So most people have no obligation to admit anything. But the point is more along the lines of, yeah, I mean, certainly it depends on the culture a lot. I am trying. I can only think about a handful of cultures, and not to be picky, but I'm pretty sure those people and wouldn't be capable of being in this and showing what we have here right now. It's not possible for such people, because the difference between their culture and ours is such that it would be completely impossible for them to, to, to even consider the idea of having anything like that. What their current living situation even is will not allow for anything of this sort to happen. The commodities that we enjoy have allowed us to reach a point in which we can commentate on such things in this way to begin with. That most of the people which cultures impede them from having the sort of discussions that I already mentioned do not even have the proper means of at all allowing the individual to enjoy many of the things of this sort that we are having. And I voice in the back of my head, yeah, this is still unclear what the fuck I am talking about when I say thing of this sort. Any sort of idea that I might be capable of criticizing the system itself in which you live without attacking it directly, but just commentating on the facts that seem to be constructing the reality itself in which you inhabit without going under the risk of becoming a completely antithetical statement so that the person who says anything poses to themselves a risk after saying something so quote unquote politically charged or what is it unacceptable. But once again, trying to return to the point, sometimes I do worry. I say too many stuff, too much stuff. Going back to the point, quick quick rundown so that we are standing on the same place. Most of us exist in a world in which I, I do not like that word, but I think that's the reality. Uh, Hale was right. I cannot believe it. We are. The alien system was completely correct. We are in a world of dialectics. That's the resume of things. We are in a world of dialectics. Ideas confronting other ideas. You can, as long as you can properly make any idea, you can be capable of going against any other idea. Issue is accepting such a thing in any way. But I don't know. I wouldn't say there is there is probably a better way to describe it without the whole need of having to go through anything like Hegelian philosophy. So yeah, I still need to grow a little bit more on that. Was that what I wanted to mention? Probably not. I haven't talked for so long. I kinda departed from the original idea I had like 10 minutes ago, 20 minutes ago. So yeah, that's that. Thank you. Now, for my next magic trick, I will drink water. Also, yeah, something that I was thinking. I want one of those microphones that have like a button that you can push or you can move up and down to turn it on and off. Because that would be better for me when I want to move around and not get the fucking virtual interference or whatever it is the name of the noises. Virtual interference? What did I say? I literally said something 5 seconds ago. And also because certainly I am not close to the PC, so I'm at the pleasure of high rating silently. Sadly. I mean, I don't know. Really, it's funny to consider that I need to constantly keep myself at check because every single fucking noise is picked up by this microphone for some weird reason. It was also cheap. I don't know why it's so fucking good. Anyway, would you prefer a static microphone? A static? What do you mean? A static? In which way? Like, doesn't move? No. I I like to have the microphone in my hand, and also, okay, to not be so descriptive. Imagine I was okay close. Let's let's embark in an activity for a second. Close your eyes and imagine with me the next thing. In front of a laptop, there's a tiny potato, and in front of or in between the potato and the laptop, there is a tiny microphone, and the potato is just sitting there. But when the potato gets bored enough, it can grab the microphone and moves, roll away a little bit, some centimeters away from just in front of the laptop, and enjoy being on its dirt bed, laying there with microphone on its hand. Basically, that's the most visual we can get without being like, what the fuck. So yeah, that's why I like to not have the microphone on a stand. And I mean, I have what is it, a tripod? I mean, it's literally a tripod because it has three legs. So yeah, I have a tripod. I could place it there, but not today. I could place it on the tripod and grab the tripod instead. I thought about that last time. I don't know why why I didn't do that. Um, I know why, but I cannot make that joke. I hate censorship. Why did we lose that word anyways? Why can't I say that word? Why can't I say what censorship is the death of the individual. Anyway, there are some decent headsets. What are you talking about? No, I mean, okay, I understand what you're talking about, but issue is, I also have like for some reason I don't even remember why. Ah, okay, I remember now. I tried to buy microphone, and when I tried to buy that microphone, it happened that the guy who sold me the microphone didn't know that it needed ghost power. So I ended up with a microphone that was impossible to use. No way I could use that microphone. I don't have something that has ghost power on it. And I just found myself incapable of using it. So I went to the same shop. I said, can you give me a reimburse? And he said, no. And I was like, what the fuck is your problem? And he was like, I cannot give you a reimburse, you already gave me the money, but I can give you a discount for the exact same price of the microphone. So, do you want something else? And I was like, yeah, can you give me, please, headsets? So, for some reason, I have DC headsets. Don't ask me why, because I already told you. So, I would get fucking angry if you ask me why. Anyways, so yeah, I won't replace these ones unless they break. What if stream break in the headsets? Anyway, uh, anyways, I don't know. That's That's it for tonight, guys. Now, I remember. One of the many things I wanted to say is also how funny it will be to do like a consideration that I say every single time lately. That I'm tired. One of these days, if I don't pass out from tiredness, I will probably just do what is it? This is just resting. I don't know what is the category called. This is just sleeping, something like that. Stream. And out of nowhere, at like 5 a.m., my dogs will, as always, wake up and fucking bark, and everyone but me will be like, "What the fuck is that noise?" And I will not notice because I never do. So it will be so funny. It won't happen, but it's like a good mental beat that will not happen. No, so yeah, thank you, thank you for sharing, Tupo. You're welcome. Uh, anyways, completely. Anyways, uh, no idea. Guys, in the end, what I can truly say is, indeed, streaming was enjoyable. Once you needed to find a way to make it not seem like such a complicated thing, man. You know, you can. One can get inside of their own head far too much, more than what it is healthy. So you end up making it look like, oh no, yeah, this needs that and this needs this other thing. And the fun of the process gets destroyed because you forget how it could ever be something fun. So you just start basing yourself on an image that cannot process what the sensation of fun is, since this feeling of fun is more once I'm a sort of feel that you have, sort of emotion that is created in the moment, and that no matter how much you try to picture it in depictions of the future, you can just say, I might be happy. You cannot be sure that you're going to have a good time. So you forget that indeed things are not so grim as you picture them, let's say. Things are not so bad as you make them look like. At least that's, I guess, at this point, personal experience. I hope, I don't know, most people. I mean, that's the reality. That's one of the many things of saying, I wish, I wish most people didn't have to deal with that. Imagine if every single person who has to imagine anything struggles with realizing how things can be in any way good when they are imagining stuff about the future. If that were to be a fundamental part of having any hope of setting any kind of desire into the future, it would make so much sense as to why it is so complicated, why it is such a hurdle to act in any way. That's why, to some degree, one wishes to be quote unquote different. Because, man, in some ways, things are bad. And it would be better if it was a personal bias or a personal experience instead of everything else. I mean, that's one of the many, not exactly that, but that's one of the many ideas always of, you know, that's why it's funny to hear somebody who has thought about something for a long time, because you see that they try to remove a lot of what is the rest of the world from what they are saying. It is to find that even in the way in which they are expressing stuff, they are still being held by their own subjectivity, not back, but they might even be capable of accepting that it is there, but it is not something that can be removed. and that's also part of what makes stuff great. On the other hand, anyway, uh, no idea. Reality is I don't even know for how long I have been here. I can always so much better if I had something like uh, I have it. I have it. Twitch has a timer integrated to itself, but one of the most wonderful things is how fucking bad is the platform on the phone. Yes, because I'm not using the application, I don't get to see that. Wait, let me refresh the page. How much I have in here? I I I don't know. It's one of those many conversations that you can have in which you feel like 10 hours have passed, so 10 minutes. So you don't really know. Is it not that is it enough? Or maybe the question is if it is enough or not. It's just that is it right? And I guess yeah, I mean I sort of already tried to mention that last time or yeah, at some point in time, this idea of binary thinking and whatnot, being too much enclosed in only what is correct and what is wrong, what is good and what is bad, and what is right and what is wrong, and what is once again true and false, and all of that stuff. And sometimes you forget that it doesn't need to be the most righteous thing to still be sufficient. But they messed up the updates? Yeah. I wish they didn't. But I guess probably it doesn't need that much thinking to realize, yeah, they have. They used to have only the web. The moment in which apps became such a normal thing, it makes so much more sense to slowly make the website in the web and usable for phone users. So yeah, kind of obliged to use the app. With that also to take it, I don't know. I have been playing games on the phone. Something that I realized because it tells you directly. One of the games that I have, every single time that I enter, it copies stuff from my clipboard for some reason. So I don't know. I don't paranoid, but maybe they just want the data. Man, they just want more data. Want to win by stealing data. Big data. Anyway. Anyway. Uh, I don't know. It's a crazy world out there. That's what I can say today. One of the many things I was thinking about today was this funny stuff. I was I as I was sitting in the public transit, uh, I think I realized a lot of stuff also in that moment, and that is the moment in which you become kind of an outlier of the whole processes of things. You become a lot more aware of how weird it ends up being. I didn't use public transit for such a long time. because I finally got the possibility of owning, even if it isn't the most private method, some kind of private transportation. And with a bike, certainly you don't have to deal with anything that has to deal with any other person sitting kind of close to you. So the moment in which you get back to public transits of any sort, you realize how weird such structures are. We have become a lot more accustomed to sharing public spaces and whatnot with other people. And it's, I guess, I said before, we don't really have concepts that seem weird. On the other hand, we have concepts that we don't really question. That's also something annoying. That we have so many things that might seem weird if you were to stop and think about them, but also you kind of get told that it's not necessary to do that, or that it isn't really useful to do that. I mean, I don't know, there are 1,000 different things of that sort. The many traditions that we have in some way are like that. The different taboos of any kind of society end up being exactly like that. The way the most sensible thing as to why so many cultures are different between each others, lying in the main difference of, yeah, somehow for some weird reason, the things that they tend to do in their normal existence is so wildly different that the moment in which you analyze them, even if we are all people, we are doing so polarly opposite things that we can unavoidably say, or yeah, we can unavoidably realize the moment in which we have to connect with someone else. Not only are we struggling because we can't even understand them, but also we cannot even really talk out these things ourselves, between ourselves, because it's weird, because it's meaningless. It's it's a complicated reality in that sense also. And I don't know. I am still hung up on that. Of I think to some degree we are just. I was thinking about it earlier. Infantilization, I think it is the word of the human being. No more you can never be as responsible as somebody from the past. No, no more anybody has to deal with the weight of knowing that they might be somebody of huge importance to their whole country, so to speak. Like, I don't know, the Romans or the Greeks or whatever. It would be so useful to have somebody like Sand right now here to correct whichever one of them was it. That any citizen could really be chosen to go into power, compared to right now, in which quote unquote any citizen can go into power, quote unquote. Not really, but the illusion, or the illusion is there, you know. But I don't know. It's just better to not worry about those things, I guess. Sometimes, sometimes. Also, that was what I was also trying to think about. Sometimes you believe that you understand something when in reality you just have a portion. That idea of blinds trying to understand what an elephant is by only grasping little bits of it. You cannot really get a full picture if you cannot see what you are trying to comprehend. And you are only touching little by little. You can do that certainly the moment in which you explore everything. But at the moment, even if you're blind, you will have spent a lot of time doing it. We're only in the most basic, or so to speak, initial steps of doing anything like that. if this were to be compared to such a process of that sort, so it makes sense that everything seems so weird. I mean, it shouldn't be something else to say later on, but it shouldn't be weird for me to say that everything is weird. Uh, it might also be just another reflection, a counter argument of, yeah, somebody who has always heard stuff of that sort of what this person is in so many ways such an incognito that, yeah, unavoidably everything else but me is weird, so beware of that. I guess, I don't know. Does it change anything? I don't think so. Uh, but also, trying to say that it doesn't happen, that it couldn't be a possibility, no matter how much you try to say that it isn't, wouldn't make it not be one. I mean, I don't know. Uh, I can only think about bad examples, or not bad, uh, punishable examples if I were to say them. Okay, let me. Holy shit! I really cannot say anything good. Okay, it is the same as if the guy who has their mouth full of spaghetti were to say, "No, yeah, I didn't eat all of the spaghetti." Let's say it like that. No matter how much I say, "Oh no, yeah," uh, it isn't because uh, people call me weird that I see that everything else is weird. So yeah, sometimes occurrence reason is right, you know. Sometimes just the shortest path towards an answer is the better one. Sometimes, anyway, I don't know. Also, what I do know is that I had something to say before. That is always something that annoys me. Knowing that whenever I want to be here, I have to deal with the issue of having such a bad memory. But at the same time, that has been an struggle, not of lately, of most of the time, most of existence, I guess, has been trying to understand it in a proper way. Having to hear people say, "Oh yeah, you can just rely more on technology and whatnot." It's the same as, in a certain way, this same argument of being responsible and whatnot. Isn't it your responsibility to try and pay attention to things? How can I say that I am doing anything? Well, if I just rely on everything else to try and keep track of what we could ever be capable of doing here, you know? Isn't it too much of an abandonment of what you are as a person to completely renounce to the possibility of your capacities? It seems kind of not pointless, damaging in that sense to renounce what you are just because there are tools that could do it for you. It isn't. It isn't a real. I am thinking about prosthetics and tools in that sense, in the most mechanical way. It isn't an, an element, an unavoidable element, so that you can keep living your life. It is just a minute addition that makes things look easier while at the same time robbing you of what you truly are capable of. Because that thing comes to replace you in that sense. And you're just happy with doing that because in the end, once again, you don't have no more to do with that part of, oh yeah, I don't need to keep track of what I I want to be talking about here. I don't need to be present in my own mind. And no, I can. I have gone through so much knowledge. I don't need to use enough thought to decide what we are going to talk about here. I just can let things randomly take a direction. And I don't know, man. It's once again not damaging to oneself in the end. It's this whole history of, yeah, possibilities are lying in my hands. The fact that I am capable of taking them or not doesn't mean that they are not there. I can renounce to what I want whenever I want to, but it doesn't mean that just because I renounced to something, it could still never be grasped again, also. I don't know. I don't know. I don't know. Also, in the whole playing field, why did the bot answer like a complete hour later? What the fuck did the bot mean by that? Anyways, uh, what? What? Anyways, uh, what? Ah, ah. Comedy Central. Fucking technology, such a replacement until it fucking fails. So incredibly bad. Ah, man. Anyways, what a funny occurrence. What a funny occurrence. Oh man, it's that's life, man. Things happen. Things are so incredibly absurd that you can't avoid laughing. I mean, that's also what I don't get when I have to talk with people who says, yeah, things are so. Are they? It's so wonderful to see that despite every single weird thing, incredibly stupid thing that happens, we're still here. It will be certainly bad if it did take the worst turn possible, but for some reason, not that the bot completely malfunctioned. The example of this case, it decided to work 1 hour later. For some reason, 1 hour later, it finally did its work. Finally activated the command and finally registered the input and sent the prompt. But it didn't go badly. It didn't completely ban everyone. I don't know, change the title and anything bad. It did what it was tasked to do. Maybe not in time, but it still did it, man. We were fine. It was just an error. Nobody died because of that. The tendency to make things look even bigger than what they are is such a such a problem. Wow, yeah, the would malfunction. It's time to replace it. I need to spend the next 3 weeks of my life looking for a better word. Oh man, it works. It had one mistake. It works. Don't worry. It isn't that much of an obligation still to have it. It's more once again. a commodity more than anything else to have something of that sort. There is nothing that the bot can do that I couldn't do if push came to shove. Is that the expression? So it, it's that in a certain way. This whole issue of oh yeah, things are so what is it? It's so over. It's so over mentality. It's it's a meme, but at the same time, it isn't a meme, man. I wish people weren't so serious with oh no, yeah, it's so over. It really isn't. And also, complexity adds facility. I'm trying to understand in which context you say it. Sorry, but yeah, overall, I agree. That's what I can say. Overall, I agree with that. I mean, not just not just that because things are more fragile, more more things could also obviously break, but certainly just because things might break, it doesn't mean that everything is bad when something does break. To some degree, let's say, you should expect things to go badly. That's also this whole idea of oh yeah, something went wrong. One tiny mistake, it's so fucking over. Time to scrap my whole interest. Time to kill this family, this new family that I just found out. Okay, family guy bit of Peter, Peter, uh, destroying everything because there was like one tiny mistake. That's the concept that I always think about when this whole thing of oh yeah, something went bad. Time to scrap everything completely. It's not like that. What about the strong families? Uh, what family guy? I guess I don't know. I guess uh, I could search that. I could. I don't want to, but you can. You can search it on internet. Probably if you go and Google like Peter, two families, three families, something like that. Family guy beat, something like that. At some point, one thing goes well, and just because one thing goes well, it's a sort of soak on once again this idea of just because one thing took a bad turn, everything else is also consequentially going to probably go bad. So it's better to completely forego for the things that you were doing the moment in which you find one issue to have happened. Because I don't even know the proper explanations, just because something went bad, so everything else that is related to that one thing now goes also into the trash. This okay, children having a tantrum. That's the better explanation. Children having a tantrum. The moment in which a children has to paint, let's say, a tiny page, and they don't make a line the way that they would like to do it. They get angry about it, so they destroy everything else just because they did one bad stroke. That sort of stuff, you know. Apparently, there is never a good time because there is also never really a bad time. Don't worry. There's just time. Also, uh, I should probably watch it myself instead of still sitting here trying to understand it by not. That's something that I love. There is so much information that I have properly understood without having properly gone through the information itself. It's just there are some conclusions that you can follow, that you can get to because you get the headline. But there is this one I heard. There is no time. No, yeah, I can say there is no time. I don't really understand what the fuck that means. So yeah, uh, supposedly there is no time. Basically, there is just no time. Don't worry. There is no good, no wrong. There is no time. That's what is it? What's the expression in English? Time are the parents, something like that. Uh, anyway, also welcome. Did I say welcome to Marley? I hope I did. Anyways, welcome, flower. Uh, no idea. What I was. Ah, yeah, I was thinking about this whole thing of scrapping everything. I don't know. It's just funny. But yeah, it happens, I guess. I mean, it's not like it has no explanation whatsoever. And I think I was also at the same time kind of going there. It's funny because most things do have an explanation. The issue is knowing. That's oh man, I remember this is something that I talk about with this guy today. I I I don't like knowing stuff because I don't like knowing about issues because I don't like being capable of realizing when stuff has a logical explanation behind why things are bad, and not in a way in which oh yeah this is justified, but our wrongdoing is justified. No, because things that are bad in themselves make complete sense the moment in which you are capable of observing the whole picture, so to speak. The moment in which you can take time out of your day and try to pause for a second, just the machine of judgment that goes on inside of anyone's mind, to simply observe what are the facts, what possible events might have led to this one final conclusion. Things make sense. I don't know. We were unavoidably, I guess, no matter how much you say, oh yeah, you should try to avoid talking about politics with people. Uh, Most people are attracted to politics. They asked me about that, and I was like, yeah, and there are issues. And he was like, oh yeah, people are dumb. And I was like, are we sure about that? It was having to explain stuff is so tiresome. Having to tell him, oh yeah, no, people are not really dumb. People don't really have time to think about anything, man. It would be so wonderful if people were just dumb. It would be so much easier if people were dumb. But I don't know. It doesn't happen. People don't have time to tend to stop. The mother who has to take care of their whole family isn't dumb, man. That woman is barely surviving. Think about that sort of people, man. Those are not dumb. They don't have time to properly choose who is going to be the next candidate that they are going to vote for. I'm sorry, man. I wish things were better. I wish reality were more like what we can say out here, but it isn't. So anyway, that's my note. What? What is sad face? Why? Sorry, I won't say it anymore. Yeah, I will proceed to shut up. But yeah, I don't know. It's just like that. sometimes the explanations are just too annoying in that sense of you can see the path towards something, and it the moment in which it makes sense is more of an issue than when you don't get things. And also, okay. Completely different. I finally remember out something else that I was thinking about mentioning today. Completely unrelated. Uh, but I remember I said, okay. I remember I thought about saying something. I don't know if I really properly even explained the idea of many of the concepts that are complex in nature need a lot of time to be properly cultivated within oneself. I think I did mention that to some degree here last time yesterday, about how one can find some degree of avoidance towards concept or aversion. Is aversion the proper word in English? Why are the languages so complicated? Why don't we have just one universal one? But adversion, confrontation is kind of the proper word. Confrontation towards stuff that might not be so close to what one is accustomed to. Okay, easy. That part is easy to understand to some degree, but that is when you're just starting to learn about this stuff. There is a sort of second phase that doesn't get mentioned at all, and I don't like that because this second phase is, I think, so much more important. The moment in which you get to know about things, the moment in which you get a big enough degree of understanding about any kind of topic, things just click, and any other new addition can click with a lot more ease. That's I kind of even mentioned the moment, the moment in which I mentioned that thing of there are some headlines that you can just read without needing the whole explanation that makes sense. There are ideas that you don't need to explore the whole context and the whole development of the idea to understand what the point is, because stuff can fit into the schema that you already have created about it, and because there are so many blanks, I am too. One day I will probably do a better so at explaining that sort of stuff, but it has to deal with how inside of the symbolic world, what gets created within language, the many ways in which the different blanks that are purposefully made within any, what is it? It isn't declaration. It is inside any text. Basically, there is another word, but I don't remember the exact one on English. Inside of any kind of text, there are always purposefully left blanks that are there just so that the reader can understand and fill in those by themselves, so that the level of understanding that exists between the reader and the writer are sort of similar. The issue, or not the issue in this case, the reality is when there is such a degree of comprehension, not only you get to pick up the main blanks left purposefully, but also you can see the underlying blanks that could be filled if you were capable enough of getting to the point and the ideas that are interconnected to any other text that refers to that very same idea. It's once again, this whole idea of how things are interconnected in themselves and how one idea leads to another one, and this whole why yeah, stuff, basically stuff, I guess. I don't know. I I like, because I always, whenever I have to mention anything that comes from Deleuze and Guattari, I kind of stop. I haven't even read them. I know I have to read them I don't want to. It's such a long process. Yeah, there's still so much stuff to read, man. I think I even said it some time ago. I should continue reading. I haven't, but such is life, man. Anyways, I think I am happy. That's what I can say. I think I am happy. I am more than fulfilled in terms of I came here. I laughed so much. It was so funny. It was like half an hour of I don't know. It was like fun. That's something funny. This whole idea of how you can properly have a nice time while doing literally nothing, and this whole capacity to appreciate just the nothingness in itself, not because you want nothing. It's impossible to want nothing, but rather because there is truly nothing to try and have it in any particular moment when the possibility arises, so that the act of being is just an enjoyable one, even if for a slight second, and that's more than satisfying, I guess. But I don't know. It's if I had to try and say it with any other word, it's more about being in the flow state and whatnot. Once you realize, yeah, maybe I have been here for too long. Maybe let's say it in a different word. Maybe I am just relaxing too much. It is this always degree of no, yeah. You cannot really relax. It's bad for anyone to be so relaxed. It's I don't know, probably to some degree a proper level of maybe I'm just starting to hard what I do. And after that, it comes the proper revelation and whatnot of, oh yeah, all this time I had been doing it wrongly. If I had been expecting only hardships to come and whatnot, and whenever I could have enjoyed the moment, I decided to change into something different, because the moment itself shouldn't be something that I should be so immersed in. Whatever, man. No idea. It's just being is complicated. That's the whole resume of things. Being is complicated. It would be better if it wasn't, but it is complicated. So I don't know. I think. Okay, yeah. I said last time. I don't know. I wouldn't trust that part of me that says, yeah, it's time for me to go to sleep. I wouldn't trust that guy, you know. I I shouldn't trust. Not that I wouldn't. I shouldn't. Uh, but at the same time, I still have to do it tomorrow and whatnot. So maybe wise decision to leave it here. Uh, yeah, all in all, it was good. I guess now that we have reached that point in time, it was fine. It was already fine evening. Evening equals any moment in time in which we are existing in this context. So yeah. Yeah. Good night, guys. Also, I guess very soon us too. Uh, also, probably if we set long out, sorry, I'm totally not out of it, just to chilling, I guess. Yeah. Yeah, no, I mean, I truly have nothing else to say, so that's it for today. Tomorrow, continuing with what I wanted to say earlier, maybe, maybe tomorrow, implying that things all right, tomorrow, not only here yet again, but also uh, if everything else goes right, probably continuing with the analysis of the series of that guy. I did like one stream about that. I think it would be better to just continue reading the Mahabharata. I should finish that instead of doing anything else if I am going to do anything that requires me to be sitting at the PC and whatnot. But I also have the sociology classes and whatnot, so I would like to continue that. The issue is also those are like 40 classes, so it probably will take as long as the Mahabharata itself. So yeah. Anyway, uh, that's literally something that I have to figure out. So no idea. Uh, Single stream, yeah, very well, very nice. Uh, Also, as always, question is, right? Uh, I guess I assume I not I no I don't assume I ask question. I, being a responsible being is such a pain. Why not just abandon responsibility? Why not just not raid? Personally speaking, wait. That's something funny. I can say it because it's my own stream. You know something that happens. I when I'm watching somebody, don't raid. I can't get angry. So yeah, thank you. Thank you for hearing. So yeah, I should write. Yeah, so we're going to do that. That's the responsible thing to do. That's the reality. If not, I will probably go on end and go and be like, why the fuck did I not try it? I could have done that and be angry at myself. It's better to not do that. It's better to avoid slighting oneself as much as possible, man. You have the possibilities of doing what you feel. It's not only nice, but will make you feel good. You don't have to deal with the struggle of taking a decision that will make you suffer. It isn't that a reality. So, I don't know, man. It just, if I had to guess anything, it's just that sometimes it's better to not take any responsibility into account and just flow and nothing else, I guess. Also, there it is. I saw it. Bunkum is live. Go entertain yourself with Bunkum. That's it from me. Thanks for everything. It has been a wonderful day, but also it's time to kinda eat. What is? I was writing something, brother. What's up with this keyword? Why did it change to a companies? Nothing else. Hong Kong. Is it right? Alright, it is. Yeah. Anyway, as I was saying, thanks for everything. It has been a wonderful day, a wonderful evening. Um, thanks. See you soon. See you. No, wait, tomorrow? I mean, I don't really have anything to do tomorrow. I am going to miss a class tomorrow. So, yeah, tomorrow. If I am going to miss a class tomorrow, I should have at least try to stream tomorrow. Anyways, good night. Thanks for everything. Peace. And also, oh my god, I have to do it up from here still and turn off the stream. What if I throw a fucking shoe at the PC and it fucking dies? Anyway.